Okay, guys. So this is what you should have in front of you. You should have your muslin. You should have some pins. You should have some sort of implement to measure with. You can either use your tape measure, this type of tape measure, or you can use your 2 by 18 rule. Um, and you already have your muslin. You should have a pair of scissors, although we're not going to be doing a lot of cutting today. Because we're working with muslin, it's cotton, it's a natural fiber, and cotton tears much straighter than it does cut. So basically you're going to probably be, no, not probably, you are going to be tearing your project today. So what we are doing is we're setting up to make the hand sampler for this class. So what you're going to do is you're going to create an 18 by 18 square. So you're going to take your ruler or your tape measure, and first of all, we should talk about the what cross grain is and straight of grain is. Straight of grain is basically, if you look at your fabric, there's a manufacturer's edge here. You can tell that the manufacturer has made this edge. That's the edge of the fabric. If you look here, it looks like it's been torn because it has. I tore it. It's cross grain. This is going across the grain. This is straight of grain. So the manufacturer's edge is the straight of grain, and when you tear the other way, it's cross grain. Okay, straight of grain, cross grain. Make sense? There's another grain. And if you look at cotton and you pull it, it's not very stretchy at all, and it shouldn't be. But if you do this on a diagonal and pull it, it's very stretchy. This is called bias. And they're, especially in the 20s, they made a lot of dresses out of bias because it draped better. It just made it look really pretty with the type of fabric they were using. Now, I have ironed this, even though it doesn't look like it. So one of the things that you really need is, one of the instruments you really need is an iron. I hope you guys all have an iron. If you don't, you can get a cheap one. They don't cost very much. Pick it up at Walmart or wherever. Amazon, if that's your new best friend. Whatever works for you. Okay, so the best thing that you want to do first is you're probably going to, let me do something real quick here. Where are my scissors? What did I do with my scissors? So the first thing that you want to do is make sure that your fabric is square. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure, I mean, I know I've squared mine off already, and you'll have to do this, but I'm going to cut an 18-inch piece. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to measure 18 inches from this edge, which is the manufacturer's edge, which I know is straight because the manufacturer's done that. Okay. And I'm going to measure 18 inches all the way over. And I know that this is an 18-inch rule because this is an 18 by 2-inch clear rule that we use. They use these in quilting a lot and stuff, but I love these rulers. They work really nicely because you can see through them and it just makes it easier to use. So I'm just going to cut a little snip here. And then what I'm going to do is take out all my aggressions. Woo! Rip. It's called a rip off. All right. Now the deal is that I know my edges are straight because I tore them. You may not have straight edges because of the fact that the Joann's or wherever you got them. I'm not sure whether Christina tore those or cut them. Check to see if they're torn. If they're torn, the edges are going to look like this. Okay? If they're cut, they're going to look a lot straighter and not so, you won't see a lot of this stuff going on. Okay? Now, so I have an 18-inch piece this way. Now I'm going to turn it the other way, which is this way, and I'm going to cut again another 18-inch piece. I'm not going to cut it. I'm going to tear it. It's a great way to get out your aggressions. All right. Okay, so I'm tearing this, and there we have an 18 by 18-inch piece. Now, it may not look very straight, but the deal is this: when fibers are messed with and it's been rolled and it's been moved around and all that stuff, the fibers have a tendency to go off square sometimes. Sometimes you just need to pull it, and that kind of takes care of the whole problem and straightens it out and makes it look a little straighter. Okay, so you now have your 18 by 18 piece, and then you need 4 doors that you're going to cut or tear, and those are going to be 5 by 5s. So I'm basically going to take this and I'm going to measure from this edge. See, there's 5 inches. And I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to clip it right here. And again, I'm going to tear. All right. Then I have this little strip of fabric. I'm going to take this and measure 5 inches. And I'm going to tear it. So I have that little square. And I'm going to do this 4 times. Now, I don't know that I'll get 4 pieces out of this. I may have to cut another. No, it looks like it's going to work out. So, yay! And tear. And it did work out. So we have 4 5 by 5 doors. And I call them doors because they are going to be doors when you get done with them. So then what you would do with these is set them aside, and we'll deal with them a little later. Okay, so we're going to stop the tape for right now, and then we're going to move on to the next thing that you need to do.